got bigger, faster, safer, gone to more places, entered more races and worn more faces as the years have rolled by. Art has become science as engineers design cleaner, greener, smoother and quieter machines. Inventors invented, engineers engineered, and the motor car became a fixture of a fast-moving world. Roads have joined cities, and cities have sprung up along roads. Mankind as servants of the machine, or machines the servants of mankind. Either way, we seem to be building new cars all the time. Precision movements, perfect harmony, running like a well-oiled machine. The lure of sunshine and the open road can't be resisted when there's power to be unleashed. Bends to be taken, hills to be climbed, deserts explored, and rivers crossed just because they're there. Old warriors of battles long since won or lost are revered, harking back to a time when mighty gladiators fought the road, the clock, and each other. For now, a new generation of heroes in fantastical machines will do the same, harnessing today's screaming demons of speed and measuring their victories and defeats in fractions of a blink. They will go to faraway places and hold their races just as their fathers and grandfathers have done before them. And winning isn't everything, it's the only thing, even if no one's watching. And on the way home, under the skin, the machine's still with us, still there, still keeping us safe. In this program, we explore the top end of town and see what kind of wheels no end of money can buy.
It was called the Model T.
Then Mr. Ford came along and revolutionized the world. He doubled wages, gaining the expertise of the best mechanics. He invented the moving production line, and he forced down the cost of entry into motor car ownership. The first Tin Lizzies cost $825, but 8 years later, the price was $360. By 1918, over half the cars in America were Model Ts, and when production stopped, over 15 million had been built, a record which stood for over 45 years.
Cars began coming off the assembly line at the rate of one every 40 seconds. Back in Detroit, Henry
By 1932, Ford was manufacturing 1/3 of all the world's cars.
He figured that the more cars he made and sold, the cheaper he could sell each one.
One Boston motor car dealer was heard to suggest that the Model T was invented to keep poor people out of good cars. In reality, the Model T made motoring accessible to the masses and made the exotic machines of the wealthy attainable to anybody who worked hard, married well, or got lucky. For most people in the last century or so, the single most visible symbol of success is a luxury car. Of those, the Rolls-Royce is the best recognized status symbol on wheels. Henry Royce, a mechanic, seen here in his early 10-horsepower car, ran a successful electrical engineering business before meeting the Honourable Charles Rolls, daredevil aristocrat who was a keen aviator, starting off in a hot air balloon before taking the controls of a Wright Flyer aircraft, in which he was later killed. The 4050 model car became known as the Silver Ghost when it was clad in silver for a show in London. And this is that car, a priceless part of motoring history. Over the years, virtually every rich or famous person of note has owned or travelled in a Rolls-Royce, and their stories are many and varied. Lawrence of Arabia went to war in one. Actor Michael Caine included one on a shopping list with cornflakes, a pound of butter and a loaf of bread. And Lenin, Mussolini, John Lennon, Zsa Zsa Gabor and George Bernard Shaw were all owners. Even Henry Ford had one. During the 1920s, the English works built powerful supercharged engines which were used to set world records on land, water and in the air by heroes like Sir Henry Seagrave, Sir Malcolm Campbell and later Donald, his son. They powered the Supermarines which won the Schneider Seaplane Trophy in 1927, 29 and 31. In the 30s, Rolls-Royce also acquired Bentley, and the two famous names received the same loving attention. Henry Royce was quite as remarkable as the cars he produced. He expected perfection from his employees, but nothing he couldn't do himself. He once filed a hexagonal nut without using any measuring equipment, and when it was checked, all 6 faces were identical. Although he was knighted and became Sir Henry, he only ever signed letters as H. Royce, Mechanic. BMW has revitalized the famous brand, building a new factory, including new technology and new models, but retaining the superior luxury and handcrafted excellence.
A Rolls-Royce motor car represents the perfect balance between design elegance and engineering substance. By selecting an aluminium space frame body structure design, we've been able to create a completely new car. The aluminium space frame enables us to combine these proportions with the highest levels of structural integrity with no compromise. The space frame is manufactured from over 200 aluminium extrusions and over 300 sheet aluminium parts. The frame is welded completely by hand, over 150 meters of MIG weld in over 2,000 separate locations on the body frame. By utilizing air springs at all 4 corners, we have a soft spring rate to optimize primary ride comfort, and we keep the car level at all times and in the center of its spring travel. Damping forces are electronically controlled continuously 100 times per second. And this means that when the car is traveling at 60 miles per hour, an adjustment is being made for every 12 inches the car travels. You've heard the rumors, you've scoured the spy shots, and finally here it is, the coach door. The coach door has a major influence on the concept of the car. The entry and exit from the vehicle has the best solution in this configuration. You face into the vehicle and merely step onto the flat floor and turn and sit in the rear seat. And conversely, rise and step out of the car. It's the difference between climbing out of the car and exiting gracefully.
Even the stylish bonnet emblem has a mysterious tail attached. The model for the Spirit of Ecstasy was said to be Eleanor Thornton, a mistress of Lord Montague of Bewley. She tragically drowned when their ship was torpedoed during World War I. Lord Montague was a huge fan of the motor car, and his family estate is now the home of the British National Motor Museum. Experimental or EX cars have explored engineering possibilities, and in the centenary year, the 100 EX was an experimental convertible version of the Phantom, fitted with a 9-litre V16 engine, designed in California and built in Munich. Unlike a concept car, an experimental car is fully functional and was originally used by Rolls-Royce to test new systems and components. As a result of potential customer feedback, the Phantom drophead coupe went on sale, but with the Phantom's smaller V12 engine. The first car in America was auctioned for $2 million in aid of charity. Purchased by a local real estate developer, the winning bid was believed to make it the most expensive new car ever sold in the US. But for most people, Rolls-Royce and their purring engines will remain simply the best motor cars in the world, and they are never, ever called rollers. Bentley had a proud racing record in the 1920s, their first decade in business, winning the Le Mans 24-hour race 4 times in a row, with cars described by Ettore Bugatti as the fastest lorries in the world. The big, bellowing, supercharged monsters won as much on the devil-may-care attitude of the dashing, aristocratic amateur racers, called the Bentley Boys, as they did on their almost unburstable engines. 73 years later, the famous marque came back to take first and second place at Le Mans once again. It was a win which did more than dust off faded glory. It announced to the world that Bentley was back in business. In 1998, Rolls-Royce and Bentley motors were bought by Volkswagen for £430 million. BMW had started supplying components for a new range of cars, notably a twin-turbo V8 engine for the Bentley Arnage, the 5.4-litre V12 engine for the short-lived Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph. BMW and Volkswagen came to an agreement whereby Volkswagen would manufacture both Bentley and Rolls-Royce cars until the end of 2002, whereafter BMW would build Rolls-Royce. While some manufacturers content themselves with making only sporting cars, and an increasing number of brands create only limousines, Bentley returned to its 83-year-old philosophy of building cars that are both. An example of the possible is the Arnage limousine. With a 73-centimetre extension to the wheelbase, the limousine is neither a standard production car nor an impractical concept. The extra space creates a vast rear cabin with room to stretch out on footrests that double as rear-facing occasional seats. The limousine's interior showed that a 22-inch screen can be hidden away when not in use. Bentley built a one-off state limousine for Queen Elizabeth in her Golden Jubilee year. It's the first Bentley in the Royal Fleet. The Bentley Continental GT is a Grand Tourer coupe with 2 doors and a 2+2 seating arrangement. It's equipped with a 6-litre twin-turbocharged 12-cylinder engine with a top speed of 319 kilometres an hour. The Continental GT, a physically smaller car, has proved popular with younger buyers and women drivers around the world with all-wheel drive. In 2007, Bentley released details of a more powerful GT with a top speed of 325 kilometres an hour. The Continental's weight was also reduced by 35 kilograms, and minor exterior changes included a tinted front grille and larger exhaust pipes. The Continental GT Speed is the first production Bentley officially capable of reaching 325 kilometres an hour. In early 2007, a Bentley Continental GT Speed, driven by 4-time World Rally Champion Juha Kankkunen, broke the world speed record on ice on the frozen Baltic Sea in Finland. He averaged 321.6 kilometres an hour in both directions on the flying kilometre, reaching a one-way maximum speed of 331. The record-breaking Bentley was largely standard, except for a roll cage, aerodynamic improvements, and low-temperature fuel and calibrations. scene of many triumphs for the imposing blower Bentleys of 80 years ago. Today's cars have the pace, and drivers enjoy the ride much more, as the Winged V continues to offer performance, opulence, and a sporting pedigree in equal measure. On the continent, Germany was the cradle of early automotive development. Carl Benz built two-stroke and gas-powered vehicles. Nicholas Otto made a practical four-stroke engine. Gottlieb Daimler built the first motorcycle, and Wilhelm Maybach designed and built luxury cars. This Mercedes-Benz 630K is a veteran of the Spanish Civil War, complete with bullet holes. Boasting a six-cylinder supercharged 6.3-litre engine and built in the latter half of the 1920s, the performance of the engine was blunted by the weight of the luxury body. In the 1920s and 1930s, the supercharged cars from Mercedes-Benz eclipsed all the powerful, refined cars that existed until then. They launched a new era in automotive engineering. Captains of industry and politicians, artists and sportsmen and women, the people driving supercharged Mercedes cars in those days opted for the most advanced engineering and the most refined designs. They dwarfed the competition with their sheer size alone. Some early cars were called Mercedes, after the 11-year-old daughter of entrepreneur and diplomat Emil Jelinek, and the name has survived. The 300 SL was best known for both its distinctive doors and for being the first ever petrol-powered car equipped with fuel injection. The Gullwing was only available from March 1955 to 1957. As a result, they are rare and valuable. The gull-wing doors, hinged on the roof and so named because the open doors resemble a bird's outstretched wings, were needed to accommodate for the car's tubular chassis, part of which passed through what would be the lower half of a standard door. This required the driver and passenger to do some gymnastics to get in or out of the car, usually by sitting on and sliding across the wide door sill. More than 80% of the vehicle's total production of about 1,400 units was sold in the US, making the Gullwing the first Mercedes-Benz which sold in bulk outside its home market. Today, the 300 SL, with its unique doors, logical firsts and low production numbers, is considered one of the most collectible Mercedes-Benz models of all time. Easier to get into, easier to drive, faster, more comfortable, cheaper, and a more common sight is the modern S-Class saloon. The S-Class is the top-of-the-range four-door Mercedes. So far, about 2.7 million have been built. The present model was introduced in 2007, and like many S-Class models before it, features many of the company's latest technical, engineering and safety advances, in particular infrared night vision and the newest pre-collision systems. For instance, the S-Class was the first car in Europe to incorporate airbags. Crumple zones were designed into the car in 1957. Three-point safety belts were fitted in 1965, along with a collapsible steering column. ABS braking appeared in the S-Class in 1978. Traction control, stability control and brake assist were all introduced in 1995. The latest S-Class will prime the brake assist system, lock the doors to prevent accidental opening during the crash, adjust the seats, close the windows and sunroof and tighten the seat belts. In the event of a rollover, the car then unlocks the doors and opens the windows slightly. Statistics from the UK Department of Transport show that the Mercedes-Benz S-Class is one of the safest cars on the road. Petrol and diesel engines varying from a 2.8-litre V6 to 6.2-litre V8s and 6-litre V12s give steadily increasing levels of power and performance, and they feature a 7-speed automatic gearbox. Yet there is little to suggest that the S-Class is a high-performance car. High-tech driver aids and luxury convenience features abound, and each new S-Class is better equipped than the last. Mercedes knows that the needs of even wealthy people are changing, and there are more younger wealthy people now, and younger people have more active lifestyles, and children too. Not too long ago, it seemed that most new car Benz buyers were older and their cars were outliving them. So the company looked for a style of vehicle that appealed to families who might want more than mere transport. The R-Class was the result, part minivan, part four-wheel drive, all Mercedes-Benz. The Grand Sports Tourer concept car was shown in 2001 to gauge the public's attitude to a new style of Mercedes. And the production-ready model was in showrooms 4 years later. Built in the American Mercedes factory in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and nowhere else, this was never intended to be a vehicle for taming jungles, deserts, and trackless wastes. It was to be a car with the safety and security of having all four wheels able to deliver some of its power, so the passengers could arrive in comfort, even if part of the journey was on slippery, wet grass, on rain-slicked highways, or beyond a remote farm gate. And for those who never venture into unknown territory, a conventional two-wheel drive model was also made available. Power comes from a spread of engines that starts with a frugal 2.8-litre diesel that extends to a muscular 5-litre petrol V8. Engineered to be first and foremost a Mercedes, the big family car offers huge reserves of safety. Features like 6 airbags and brake lights that pulse a warning to other road users during emergency braking. Air suspension cushions the bumps and automatically lowers at speeds over 20 kilometers an hour to improve aerodynamics and fuel consumption. Sadly, sales of the Big Benz were hard hit by rises in the price of fuel, so about a quarter as many were sold as was initially expected. And despite this, Mercedes will soon offer an R-Class with hybrid technology. A 2.8-litre V6 coupled to a pair of powerful electric motors. In terms of large family transport, it doesn't get much better than this. Maybach first built an experimental car in 1919, with the first production model introduced 2 years later at the Berlin Motor Show. Between 1921 and 1940, the company produced various classic opulent vehicles. Around 1,800 Maybachs were built before World War II. At the 1997 Tokyo Motor Show, Mercedes presented an ultra-luxury concept car, the Mercedes-Benz Maybach. Maybach was revived as a brand with the production of the new model in 2 sizes, the 5.7-metre Maybach 57 and the 6.2-metre Maybach 62, which allows rear occupants to recline fully in their seats. In 2005, the new 57S was added, sporting a more powerful 6-litre V12 twin-turbo engine. Many customers will personalise their cars with their initials or coat of arms. Also, with a handcrafted finish and over 2 million equipment option combinations available, it's unlikely that 2 identical cars will ever leave the factory. Maybach's main competition is the Rolls-Royce Phantom. Given that most Maybach owners are chauffeured, owners especially appreciate the Maybach's highly adjustable rear seats with seat warmers, seat coolers and massage features, all of which need to be specially fitted with Rolls-Royce. BMW is one of the most forward-looking car companies in the world, yet it never forgets its roots. Housed in one of Munich's architectural highlights, the BMW Museum stands right next to the world-famous BMW 4-cylinder head office building, across the road from the Olympic Village, built for the 1972 Games. After a 2.5-year refurbishment project, visitors can see more than 120 exhibits in museum space covering 5,000 square meters. The circular museum will continue to be a landmark and a sought-out destination for car lovers from around the world. The adjacent low-level building now complements the Bowl, as the circular museum building has been designated ever since it was opened in 1973. This has entailed increasing the available floor space 5-fold. A kilometre-long ramp leads visitors through 7 permanent exhibitions in the new 3-storey building, and temporary exhibitions held in the 5-storey Museum Bowl. The museum includes cars, motorcycles, aircraft engines and racing engines. One of the exhibits is this impressive kinetic sculpture made of 714 metallic balls. The balls dance, flow, and eventually form the shape of a vintage car. At the opening ceremony, the future was represented by 350 apprentices, members of the upcoming generation who will shape the history of BMW and themselves create new vehicles that will one day be exhibited in the museum. Introduced in 1987, the big 7 Series BMW has been the flagship sedan for the Munich-based company and is now in its 5th generation. In fact, BMW started making aircraft engines in 1916, built a motorcycle in 1923, but didn't offer a car until 1928. Like its direct rival, the Mercedes S-Class, the 7 Series is the premier model from the manufacturer, and the newest model was revealed in late 2008. Unlike the S-Class though, the 7 Series doesn't hide its sporting heritage, and drivers shopping for a large saloon are unlikely to have to ponder the merits and their preferences for one over the other for very long. Weight-saving measures have shaved off about 50 kilograms, thanks largely to increased use of aluminium in the body. A detailed change to improve fuel consumption by reducing drag is a flap in the grille that eliminates unneeded airflow. Naturally, aspects like lights and wipers, dipping mirror, and even self-dipping headlamps are all standard, and safety features, both active and passive, abound. Designed for the driving-driven generation, the car offers full internet connectivity, although some functions, such as the television, can only be engaged in the front screen when the car is standing still. The car is also connected to a 24/7 call centre, from where navigation details can be sent to the car, emergency services can be dispatched, and who can even unlock the car. Now that's real remote central locking. There's also an internal panic button. Just one touch will summons emergency services to the car's GPS coordinates.
Wir haben einen Notruf. Was passiert?
The 750i is powered by BMW's 4.4-litre twin-turbo V8, as is the 750Li, which has a wheelbase that's 13 centimetres longer for more passenger room. The 6-litre V12 is seen in the top-drawer 760i, and there are also 3-litre twin-turbo diesel and twin-turbo petrol inline sixes. A 6-speed automatic transmission is standard. The new driver information system is so advanced, it's able to read speed limit signs and warn drivers when they're driving too fast, although this feature is only available in Europe for the time being. Primary information can be shown in a head-up display, projected on the windscreen at the edge of the driver's line of sight, so there's no need to look down from the road ahead. A lane departure warning system tells the driver of cars in the blind spots via a vibrating steering wheel and a message on the dashboard screen. BMWs are built for enthusiastic drivers, and 4-wheel steering is included on the 7 Series options list for the first time. The rear wheels turn in the opposite direction to the front ones at speeds below 50 kilometers an hour, and turn up to 3 degrees in the same direction as speeds climb above that. A new active chassis management system gives the choice of comfort, normal, sport and Sport Plus settings, changing shock settings, steering effort, gear change speed and smoothness, and the sensitivity of the stability control system. The A8 is Audi's answer to the Mercedes S-Class and BMW 7 Series. The first A8 was introduced in 1994, and the second-generation version came 10 years later in 2004, with a modest update for 2008. Unlike either of its German cousins, the Audi offers Quattro all-wheel drive, a major boost to handling, stability and driver feel. The A8 uses a unique all-aluminium body for decreased weight and comes with a 4.2-litre V8 in petrol or turbo diesel form, as well as a frugal 2.8-litre V6. In 2008, Audi claimed that a more precise driving feel, superior ride, acoustic comfort and subtle refinements to the design and interior underlined the exceptional position of the sportiest saloon in the luxury class. Airbag suspension offers better handling while improving ride comfort. A warm weather package option added a solar sunroof which allows the interior ventilation fans to run, keeping the interior cool while the car is parked, even when the engine's turned off. The A8 comes standard with a 6-speed Tiptronic automatic gearbox and the 4th generation of Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system. Inside, a navigation system and Bluetooth connectivity is standard, along with dual-zone climate control. In stark contrast to the luxurious A8, the Q7 is Audi's first ever SUV. The big station wagon provides seating for 7. The design is based on the Audi Pikes Peak Quattro concept car, and mechanically the Q7 is similar to the Volkswagen Touareg and Porsche Cayenne. The Q7 can be ordered with a 3-litre turbo diesel V6, petrol 3.6-litre V6, or a 4.2-litre V8. Both V6 models ride on 18-inch wheels with tyre pressure monitoring and 19, 20 or even 21-inch wheel and tyre packages as options. The V8 Q7 adds or replaces equipment with unique features like the engine, 20-inch wheels and a standard navigation system. Options not available on the V6-powered Q7s include adaptive cruise control and self-leveling air suspension. On the safety front, it comes with ABS and EBD enhanced 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes and electronic stability program. Regardless of engine choice, the Leviathans are limited to 250 km an hour top speed. Audi has also hinted at a V12 Q7 with a turbo diesel engine similar to the one featured in the R10 Le Mans winning racing car to match the similarly equipped Volkswagen Touareg. Cadillac is one of America's oldest names. The company was formed in 1902, named after the 17th century French explorer who founded Detroit, home of the US car industry. The Cadillac CTS-V seeks to compete with BMW, Audi and Mercedes-Benz. A supercharged 6.2-litre V8 drives a 6-speed dual-clutch manual or a paddle-shift 6-speed automatic. To improve handling, the Cadillac uses magnetic ride control suspension. In mid-2008, the CTS-V lapped the famed Nürburgring Nordschleife in less than 8 minutes, then the fastest time for a production sedan on factory tires. For decades, owning a Cadillac was a sign of prosperity, but more recently, quality issues and dated styling have seen the brand slip against its rivals. The STS, the most popular current Cadillac passenger car, has a 3.6-litre V6 engine in a couple of different states of tune, 17-inch wheels and tyres, stability control, tyre pressure monitoring, while additional features include all-wheel drive, iPod integration, ventilated seats, swiveling headlights, navigation system with 3D mapping, and real-time traffic and weather data. An efficient 2.9-litre turbo diesel engine is being developed for CTS models sold in European and Asian markets. Cadillac once defined advanced engineering, luxury and style early in American automotive history, being the first manufacturer to release cars with a fully enclosed cabin. Cadillac was the first manufacturer to incorporate an electrical system that consisted of cranking, lighting and ignition. Similar in size to a BMW 5 Series, both the coupe and the station wagon version of the CTS are to be produced and sold in the USA, although GM feels they may be more successful in Europe. The CTS station wagon acts as a replacement for a US-only model, the SRX, which has been phased out. The big fins, acres of chrome and fuel-guzzling American V8 engines would seem to be a thing of the past. There are some enthusiastic drivers who can afford to indulge their passion for motoring and don't need or want a staid and sober four-door saloon. For these lucky people, there are a number of sporty cars that place a higher emphasis on performance than on comfort, although increasingly it seems you can have both. Often called the everyday supercar, Porsche has been building cars since World War II. The company's Ferdinand Porsche designed the relations between the two companies have remained close ever since. Under his son, Ferry Porsche, the company produced sporting cars initially based on the rear-engined air-cooled Beetle. These evolved into the six-cylinder 911 series, still rear-engined and still air-cooled. Higher performance, the 911 was produced in various forms, including all-wheel drive and turbocharged. Eventually, the engines were water-cooled in the interests of still more performance and the need to meet stringent vehicle noise limits. Although other models, such as the VW-powered 914, the Audi-powered 924 and 944, and the front-engined V8 928 came and went, the rear-engined two-door 911 Coupe remained a constant, delivering ever more power, race-bred sophistication, and performance. Throughout the company's history, motorsport has been of great importance, scoring more than 28,000 victories. Porsche currently claims to be the world's largest racing car manufacturer. First launched in 2006, the Cayman is a coupe derived from Porsche's second-generation Boxster convertible. Like the Boxster, the Cayman is assembled in Finland. The Cayman and Boxster share their mid-engine platform and many components. Unlike the Boxster, the Cayman has a large hatchback for access to luggage areas on top of the engine cover. The 3.4-litre flat-six Boxster engine in the Cayman S is derived from the 3.2-litre power plant that was used in the Boxster S, and a less powerful but more fuel-efficient 2.7-litre version powers the basic model. The 911 Turbo Cabrio carries on a 20-year Porsche tradition of offering a soft-top version of its flagship sports car, combining the performance of a high-powered car with top-down driving pleasure. The 2+2-seater also offers economical fuel consumption, thanks to its lightweight design, outstanding aerodynamics, and advanced engine technology. The Cabrio is powered by a 3.6-litre six-cylinder Boxster engine with twin turbochargers and variable turbine geometry. Both versions can reach speeds of up to 300 kilometers an hour. In all the world of motoring, there is no name as evocative as that of Ferrari. It is a name which virtually defines speed, performance, style, and engineering excellence. It's the epitome of motoring competition, and not surprisingly, red is the color of choice. Founded by Enzo Ferrari in 1929, the company sponsored drivers and manufactured racing cars before moving into production of street-legal vehicles in 1947, mostly to fund the team's racing. The Ferrari 612 is a Gran Turismo, a large two-door fastback coupe. The 612 was designed to replace the smaller 456M. Its larger size makes it a true four-seater, with adequate space in the rear seats for adults. The design pays homage to the custom 1954 Ferrari 375mm that director Roberto Rossellini had commissioned for his wife, Ingrid Bergman. The 612 is Ferrari's second all-aluminium vehicle and shares its naturally aspirated 5.7-litre V12 engine with the 575M Maranello. It comes with a choice of two 6-speed transmissions, a conventional manual or the semi-automatic paddle shift system. The F430 Spider is the convertible version based on the coupe and is Ferrari's 21st road-going convertible model. Despite the car's mid-mounted engine, Ferrari's engineers found a way of creating a roof that automatically folds away inside the engine bay, thus ensuring purity of line. The striptease from a closed top to an open-air convertible is a two-stage folding action that's been dubbed a stunning 20-second mechanical symphony. Along with a restyled body, the F430 features a 4.3-litre V8 petrol engine derived from a shared Ferrari-Maserati design. This new power plant is a significant departure for the F430's line. The engines of all previous V8 Ferraris were descendants of the racing program of the 1950s. This 50-year development cycle comes to an end with the entirely new 4.3L, the architecture of which is expected to replace the Dino-derived V12 in most other Ferrari cars. The large oval openings in the front bumper are reminiscent of Ferrari racing models from the 60s, particularly the 156 Sharknose Formula One car of F1 world champ Phil Hill. From the earliest days of motoring, the name Bugatti represented innovative engineering. Ettore Bugatti started building cars in 1909 in France. The original company is legendary, producing some of the most exclusive cars in the world, as well as some of the fastest. But Bugatti failed with the coming of World War II. The company had much success in motorsport, winning the first ever Monaco Grand Prix, twice winning 24 hours at Le Mans. Italian entrepreneur Romano Artioli acquired the Bugatti name in 1987 and re-established the company. By 1989, plans for a new Bugatti were presented, and the first completed car, the EB110 GT, was advertised as the most technically advanced sports car ever built. In 2000, Volkswagen bought the Bugatti name and introduced the EB164 Veyron concept, a 16-cylinder quadruple turbocharged car that was claimed to deliver 1,001 horsepower and reach 407 kilometers an hour. The Veyron finally entered production in late 2005, the first cars being delivered early the next year. In several high-speed tests, the car slightly exceeded its target, but at full speed, the Veyron's fuel consumption, 78 litres per 100 kilometres, meant that at full throttle, its 100-litre fuel tank would be empty in just 12 minutes and 46 seconds. Without doubt the ultimate road car, it's unlikely that the world will ever see or need a faster machine. Building on the legend of the original Mercedes is another, altogether more modern supercar, drawing on the high-tech world of Formula One. It's the McLaren SLR, built to be the ultimate Mercedes-Benz sportster. Former Mercedes Grand Prix drivers David Coulthard and Sir Sterling Moss were keen to inspect the new machine even before its launch.
Support the front wing. You're obviously here to support the air. I'm used to it like this, you see.
Then it was time for the lucky few to sample the new Roadster at, where else but a Grand Prix circuit. With cabrios and hardtops available, and a couple of former Grand Prix drivers on hand to show prospective clients the quickest lines, it was a taste of heaven for those with the ability to afford an SLR. McLaren superstar driver Lewis Hamilton wasn't letting anyone else drive his company car and was willing to put on a bit of a show. Maserati is another great name of the past which fell on hard times, has been rescued and returned, if not to Formula One, at least to the showroom. The Italian racers were all but unbeatable in the early 1950s, but soon Neptune's Trident dropped off the podium, off the grid, and out of sight. Rescued from obscurity by fellow Italian company Fiat, Maserati now builds truly magnificent road cars, such as the Gran Turismo Coupe. Power is from a 4.2-litre twin-cam alloy V8 driving the rear wheels through either a 6-speed automatic transmission or Maserati's Duo Select automated manual gearbox. The ZF mates conventionally direct to the rear of the engine. The Duo Select is in a transaxle at the rear of the car for more rearward weight distribution to improve traction and handling. Inside the cabin, All is hand-stitched Italian leather, with controls and instruments placed exactly where a driver would expect to find them. It is a car built for a lifelong love affair. And while the Gran Turismo is magnificent, the Gran Turismo S is more so. More power, bigger brakes, bigger wheels, but we'll let it tell its own story. Finally, a look back at the future of over 50 years ago.
Designed for the electronic highway of the future, the fabulous turbine-powered Firebird 2.
The Motoramas were fantasy motor shows staged by General Motors between 1949 and 1961. The Highway of Tomorrow display in the 1956 Motorama was a work of art. Not only was the display futuristic, but the vehicle featured, the Firebird 2, was on the cutting edge of innovation and the second of 3 turbine cars that would appear in Motoramas.
Why, it's you!
Firebird 2 to Control Tower. We are about to take off on the Highway of Tomorrow. Stand by.
5 new dream cars were on display, in addition to the Firebird 2. The Chevrolet Impala, Pontiac's Club de Mer, Oldsmobile's Golden Rocket, the Buick Centurion, and Cadillac's Brougham Town Car. The show's 63 exhibits and 26 cars occupied 26,000 square feet of ballroom space.
We'll make the world new.
Over 2.2 million visitors attended as the show moved from New York in January to Miami, Los Angeles, and San Francisco before closing in Boston in April.